Welcome to the Chew on This podcast. Join your host, Dr. Katie Chew, and her guests as they chew on what matters, one story at a time.
Well, hello. Welcome to another episode of Chew on This podcast. And today we have a very, very special edition. Mandy, you've been my guest before, and would you like to tell our guests where we are today?
We are on a cruise, a Royal Caribbean on, what ship are we on?
We are on the Navigator of the Seas.
The Navigator of the Seas. So we are currently in Mexico.
Yes, we are in Ensenada, and we're going to be leaving. Well, we had a wonderful day today in Ensenada.
We did. We had a great day.
A tour, and we did the best of Ensenada with the Chew crew. And basically, just so you know, a lot of you might know that the Chew crew are my little dinosaur characters from my children's book series, but it also turns out that my staff all these years have been calling themselves the Chew crew. And so I organically, spontaneously, however you want to call it, from a conversation with Mandy, well, I don't know, let me back up a little bit. Mandy, what business do you have?
Mandy Cansler Consulting.
Yes. And so what type of consulting do you do?
I do consulting in ophthalmology and optometry practices.
Yeah.
And I work with practices depending on what the need is for operations, for alignment, for efficiencies. And that is not how we first met, which I think we kind of told that story on our previous podcast. But then we ended up working together, and it has been such an opportunity.
Yes.
With your team.
Yes. So basically, after getting to know Mandy on a personal level and then bringing her into my practice for the podcast, she kind of got a inside, view of how my operations were working, and that's when she offered her services. And after a little bit more discussion, it seemed like we might be the right fit. And so we were talking about running workshops for my practice and helping my team, especially for the new year of 2026, to have a great, strong kickoff. We were talking about just organizational alignment, helping us increase efficiency, look at where we can increase profit margins and things like that. And you and your team were going to do a deep dive into the financials of my practice.
Yeah.
And that was something that I truly needed because, I want to share with you 30 years of practicing. I have built a practice that have been very, very successful and rewarding. But some of that success and rewarding came from me just wanting to keep giving and giving and giving. Mm-hmm. And not that I chose to ignore the insurance climate of reimbursement rates and all that, but when I had a dear friend of mine tell me that the services that I was providing in a underserved community, that it was a giving, but in order for me to continue giving to that community, I needed to be sustainable. Mm-hmm. And that's where the light bulb came on for me, and that the metrics were very, very important. Okay. So I'm so happy that you are on board, no pun intended, but on board with me, with my team, and this is exciting times. And so it was through one of our conversations about setting up workshops, and Mandy said, well, Katie or Dr. Chew, do you know of any conference rooms that you can maybe rent out a space for our workshops? And here I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Mandy, I have a great idea. And she's like, what's your idea? And I said, well, I think cruise ships have conference rooms.
Tell them my response.
Well, you just started laughing. You were laughing. You thought I was crazy.
And are you serious?
Yes. And we have this running joke about how we have these crazy ideas, but they're always like, crazy good, right? And so here we are. We're in Ensenada, yes. And we're going to do the hard chews and soft chews. But because this was so spontaneous, I don't have my hard chew bags or soft chew bags, but we decided to have the questions generated, and they're on your phone?
Yes.
Okay.
They
so
are.
Why don't
Well,
you?
and I would like to, before we move forward with that, this was completely spontaneous. No podcast was planned until we got on the ship, hence my vacation wear. This is not my typical podcast wear. And I would like to, I would be negligent if I did not say that the work behind the scenes on the financial level would not be possible without my colleague and dear friend Cindy Smith. And she is excellent at what she does behind the scenes with numbers, and she's so passionate about it, and she understands how the operational piece, the clinical piece, the efficiencies drive what those numbers are. And so I've been really, really excited that to work with her on this project, and she just kind of jumped in on it. She was like, hey, put me in, and so it's been really great. But so I have the questions on my phone that we're going to go over that we have not had a chance to practice or any of that. This is all.
Well, while we're doing that, I'm going to have a sip of my, is this pina colada?
Oh, we should cheers.
Oh, yes, we will cheer.
Cheers. And I dripped a little bit. Hope they don't mind.
All right, are we going to do hard
Yummy.
chews or soft chews?
Okay, so let's start off with a soft chew just to get warmed up. Do you want me to, I'm going to read the question,
Okay.
And you can decide if you want to go first. So the question is, what does your nervous system feel like when you finally slow down? And what helps you get there faster?
I think you're going to start with that one.
Okay.
Because I do need to read the question myself.
Absolutely. So, that's actually a really great question, because it is something that I find myself so many times navigating. And I've been wide open my whole life, very busy. I've always been busy from a child. I've just kind of bounced around. I've been busy in my professional life as an adult, but I have found that when I slow down, my nervous system oftentimes doesn't like it. And so when I slow down, it can cause anxiety to flare. It can cause me to think about things. When I stay busy and I'm performing or I'm doing things, then my mind is not racing because I'm doing things. But when I slow down, sometimes, thoughts can creep in, and you start to question things, and it can be, you feel like you're not doing something right if you're not busy. So then it comes the guilt of slowing down. And it also depends on where I'm at. If I am at home and I slow down, my nervous system tells me I should be doing all kinds of other things. When I'm away, because I travel a lot, and I slow down, my body tells me I need to be at home. But I may have a few more days that I'm on a job and I'm not particularly busy. And so that can be tough. What's the second part of that question?
This is a loaded question.
It is. Okay, so the first part was, what does your nervous system feel like when you finally slow down? And for me, anxiety can creep in if I've not managed well how I balance what my boundaries are, and really rest well, not overload my schedule, not overstimulate myself, whether it be good or bad stress, all of those things. And so what helps me get there faster is to intentionally manage what I am carrying in life. And being intentional about it sounds silly, but it's important that we rest. It's important that we are around the people that bring good to our life and not stress. It's important the things that we carry subconsciously and what we choose to expose ourselves to. So that's what I would say, is that I've always wanted to run and stay busy, but I have to manage myself enough that when I slow down, my anxiety doesn't flare.
Yeah. Well, as I'm listening to you, and I'm having to read this question a few times for myself, and this question to me, because I can identify with a lot of the things that you're saying, because all my life it was part of my coping mechanism to always keep busy. And when I don't keep busy, anxiety creeps in. 100% just like you.
Hard.
It is hard. And so this question basically sounds like it's more for people that don't have the anxiety, because it says, what will help you to get there faster? And I'm thinking, well, I want to get there faster if anxiety is going to creep in. But to answer it from a healthy perspective, because I think that's what this question is that I've learned to, I'm going to put in air quotes in terms of slowing down, is that I manage what you just said by still keeping busy, but making sure that some of these activities or things that I'm going to be engaging in are for self-care. So it still gets squeezed in and into a busy schedule, but then I make sure that it's there. Because if I don't have anything on my schedule, and for other people, that's their way of, relaxing and that's their self-care, that causes anxiety for me. And so, like, for example, a lot of people throwing parties is a lot of work for them. They would rather not have to entertain. And for me to throw a party for, whether it's for 4 people or for 100 people, and I'm hosting a party, that's so fulfilling and so much fun. But for other people, it's stress. And so I think that's how I've been managing, is just still keeping busy, but making sure that it's being filled with things that in turn is re-energizing me, even though I'm still busy. So I don't know if that's
good.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of goes to show that we all need something different too.
Yes.
It shows up so differently for all of us. Because that question, the way I answer it has changed. If you would have asked me that 5 years ago, I would have given you a different answer. And it's just becoming aware of what some of those things are.
Okay, that didn't feel like a soft, easy, joyful, fun question. So we're going to go to a hard.
Oh, hard chew.
Hard chew. Okay, let's see here. Let's go with, what's one belief about your life or leadership that this season is asking you to release, even if it once served you well? You want to go first, or you want me to try to attempt it?
I'll go first.
Okay, thank you.
That's a great question.
You're going to give me some time
I
here.
need to look at it.
I know.
Bear with us. Okay, one belief about your life or leadership that this season is asking you to release, even if it once served you well. Ooh, that is such a good question, because something that I've noticed over the last year while I've been doing consulting and working in other practices are finding things that work so well for organizations that I wished I had done differently with my own team when I was an administrator. So, for example, there were things that I had put in place that at the time I was doing the best I could based on the experience I had and what I knew. And as you continue to try new things, you'll find that sometimes a different approach works better, and every organization or practice is better. And so then I almost carried a little bit of guilt of, I wish I had done this part this well, earlier on, but we kind of grow. And so for me, it's like it worked well. It's not that it didn't work well. I'm just always critiquing what I could have done better, and releasing that even though maybe there was a better way to do it, because we're always evolving, to not carry that with me, to be able to let that go and say, the goal is to always improve and grow. And it's okay that maybe the way that you led your team, particularly at one time that you thought worked well then, that you can let that go when you find a better way. To kind of allow, that's the way I interpret the question, to allow that it might have served me well at one point, but what could serve me and the practice or the team that I'm working with now even better.
All right, I am going to say, what's one belief about your life or leadership that this season is asking you to release, even if it once served you well? All right, I think for me, I think it was a coping mechanism to protect myself. And when I say protect myself, it was, like right now, I am in this season in my life where we were just talking about this as we were walking over here, that I don't feel like I have hard things anymore. because things that I used to think would be hard or challenging for me, I see them as things that are fun now. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yes.
And I think that's the part that I have learned to let go. Is it was this insecurity that I couldn't do certain things, and so I use that as a crutch, maybe, to not even want to move forward and stay frozen in so many of my decision making, and whether it was for business or personal life. I just, and it wasn't because I was complacent, but it was more because I was protecting myself. And I think there's a difference, right? And but I'm not that same person anymore. I've learned to release that notion that I can't do hard things, and it's coming from having more confidence in myself. And like me hiring a consulting company, just so you know, even a year ago, I probably would have never even thought about hiring a consulting company. And I think I'm at this place in my life where when I talk about confidence, it's really related to having good self-esteem and telling myself that I'm worth it. My practice is worth it. My patients are worth it, right? And yes, it's a financial commitment. Don't get me wrong, right? And I think a lot of times practices or practice owners are also weighing that portion out.
Sure.
And I am a small practice. I think even Mandy had talked to me about this, because she normally works with much larger practices, but she's getting an inside view of what a lot of optometric practices are like. They are small practices, right? And a lot of times it comes from this mentality, and when I say this, I mean it in a very endearing way. We're like mom and pop businesses, right? In healthcare. And so I think for me, leaning on your resources to help me fulfill this confidence that I'm finding within myself, and then sharing it with my practice, I think it's a wonderful thing. I mean, we got to see my associate, my staff, they're going to be in workshops on a cruise ship. Like, who does that?
They've really enjoyed themselves.
They have.
And something that I would say is that we were talking about, yes, my experience has been, more in ophthalmology over the last few decades. And I've worked with many optometrists over the last, little over a year. But what I've found is that we talked about, and as I've met many of your optometry colleagues, is that there's not the support on the leadership side, administrative side, business side, as much in optometry as we see in ophthalmology. And the timing of it right now just seems so critical in, if we know anything about the future of what's happening in ophthalmology, there's going to be less access to ophthalmologists over the next few years. I mean, a reduction of, 10 to 15% or more, and then a rise in the need for eye care as the aging population. And so, for ophthalmologists to be able to work at the surgical level and the highest level of their license, optometrists have to be able to work at the highest level of their license so that patients have access that they need, and there's not a delay in eye care, because what that could create over time. And so, kudos to you. It is a commitment, and it's a leap of faith sometimes when you're thinking about, I'm a small practice and what can I afford, and not afford, that's probably not the best word, but for lack of a better word, is why can I not I can't afford not to do this.
Correct.
To maximize, because we've seen so much opportunity already, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Really exciting.
I am going to touch upon the fact that your experience, so many years, decades of experience, was with ophthalmology. And, that's one of the things about my optometry practice is that I have been doing medical care, right? We've talked about this.
Yes.
You know, she literally had spent days in my practice shadowing me, shadowing my staff, seeing what the workflow is. And at the end of the day, you know, Mandy goes, wait, so you are seeing medical cases. And the thing is that, you know, I used to tell my colleagues, other optometrists, that we give so much away for free. And yet here I was doing it. I'm giving medical care, medical treatment, and yet I was not billing to the highest code or codes.
Sure.
And so that's where Mandy and her team are helping me with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so okay, I think we both kind of answered that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go with
Let's
a
go to a
soft.
soft tube. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see here. We're going to. All right. Here we go. When do you feel most present? Not productive, not impressive, just here.
Okay.
I'll let you see it.
When do you feel most present, not productive, not impressive, just here? I'm going to say I've been practicing this every moment. I mean, I'm trying. I'm a work in progress, but that is my goal, to always feel present. So, I mean, it's almost like when you go to like a yoga class, right? Or a meditation class, and they're telling you to, you know, feel your breath and hold your breath and release your breath, but feel all that, right? I think I'm doing that with my life, like every moment. I think it's, you know, some people say that that's like an act of showing gratitude. Like when you practice gratitude, that's also a way of showing appreciation of how your life is. And that is part of it too for me, is that I feel present every moment, and that's my answer. It's as simple as that. It sounds weird, but it's as simple as that. You know, how are you going to answer that?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, my goal, I aspire to be present everywhere I am all the time. I'm such a work in progress. I have to say that I feel most present when I am outdoors somewhere, mainly in the mornings. Morning time, and we both kind of connected over that.
Yeah, and having our coffee.
Having my coffee and kind of having some clarity, but being outdoors, you know, away from the noise, away from the screen time, away from, you know, my earbuds in, Spotify flowing, podcast going, notifications going off, you know, before the world wakes up in the morning. But when I can disconnect and get away, like today, we did a tour in Mexico,
6 hours,
and a 6-hour tour. And while I enjoyed all of it, my favorite moment that I really, really enjoyed and took it all in was I walked away from everybody, and the crowd had walked off, and everybody was starting to board the bus, and I stood there and just looked off the side of the mountain over the water, and it's just grounding for me. And I've had to learn to slow down enough over the last couple of years to even appreciate that and recognize it, because I couldn't have named that, because I've always fired on all cylinders my whole life. So yeah, for me, I have to be intentional about it. I really struggle being present all the time. I'm doing better. I'm not where I want to be yet.
Yeah. Well, okay, so here's the thing. You mentioned you being present by looking out into nature, right? And I'm going to highlight one of those moments where I felt very present and I was aware of it, and then I shared it with you, okay? And that was, it just touched my heart, because today, Mandy normally sits next to me on the trip, right?
Yeah.
And today she sat next to one of my staff, and just, it really did touch my heart, and to see how you bonded with her, and I know that she's so happy. She's so happy with the attention that you were showering on her. But they were like not overly showering, but just like little things like helping her take pictures, right, of her. And
this was her first cruise, and
yeah.
everything was so new to her. She's such a sweet spirit. So.
Yeah, but I wanted to let you know that that's what I witnessed.
Oh, thank you.
And you're so even that little thing, you're transforming somebody's life, right? That's how these things work, right?
It's funny you say that because she made my day. It made my day watching her take it all in.
And I knew that. That's why I also wanted to tell you that. Yeah. All right, hard one now.
Hard one. All right, so when was the last time you realized rest wasn't a reward, but a requirement?
Oh my goodness. When was the last time you realized rest wasn't a reward, but a requirement?
Do you want to go first?
I'm going to say this one.
Okay.
I know this one. All right. What's today's date?
Today is the 14th.
The 14th.
January 14th.
All right. So I'm going to say this. January 2nd, the day after our holiday, I was driving to work and I thought I was having a heart attack. I ended up going to the ER. And being at the ER, they ran tests, they did the EKG twice. Everything checked out normal for my heart. There was nothing going on with my heart. And I think what that visit reminded me was that there are certain things that are happening in my life right now that has been causing some noise and some anxiety. And that was a wake-up call for me to learn to relax. Relax doesn't mean backing out of things, due to the anxiety or retreating. I'm not going to do that. But what it taught me was that I need to learn how to manage. And so I'm going to learn how to manage that anxiety. And so that's what it taught me, that I do need to relax in that aspect to manage better in terms of my anxiety.
I'm telling you, nothing will wake you up faster than a health scare.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And then you realize how irrelevant everything else in life really is.
Yeah.
When you think.
Yeah.
And that's pretty vulnerable to share for everybody to hear, but it is true. You could have everything in the world going great for you.
Yeah.
It just feels like you're on top of the world, and a health scare will just, your whole world stops.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it was not a heart attack, but our body tells us.
Yeah.
If we don't listen otherwise, it will physically show us.
And, I hope you don't mind me sharing this part, but, you were one of the first people. I think I called you from the ER.
Yeah.
And she knows what this noise is in my
do.
life and what's causing this anxiety. And so one of the things that you recommended was maybe just let it go. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, right? And so this is where I was telling you later on that I feel like it is worth it, but I am still going to take care of myself by managing the anxiety differently, because I don't want to retreat. I'm standing by my principles on this one thing, and so yeah, we're going to see how 2026 plays out.
It's going to be great.
It is going to be great.
We're going to claim it.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, when do you feel? Oh, sorry. What was the question again?
Oh, you didn't answer it, right?
Yes. When was the last time you realized rest wasn't a reward but a requirement? So, it only took me this one time to put this in perspective for me. And I have been really proud of myself of being able to recognize when I when I need rest before my body tells me I need rest. Because I used to, my body would have to speak to me, right? Whether it showed up in anxiety, the tingling down my arms, we've talked about the physical symptoms that can come with that. But so when I had decided to go into consulting full time and left my role as an administrator, at that moment, I knew I needed a sabbatical in what I was doing. I needed to detach from my professional identity for a little bit, and I needed that rest. And to the point that I look back, I didn't see it at the moment, but I look back and like mentally, clarity-wise, the way I felt, all kinds of things that I was starting to struggle with and feel, and am a pretty healthy person, and it was all coming from stress, from lack of rest, and not a rest like I'm sleepy, right?
Like
it's a different type of rest.
Correct. Not a physical rest,
right?
But an emotional rest.
An emotional rest, and it had been going on for probably several months that it had been going on, and I just kept pushing. You know what that's like. You just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing through. And it hit me to the level that when I decided I needed a sabbatical, and it was so tough for me to decompress and even take those few weeks. It was so hard for me because I was so wound tight. I said, I will never again, ever again be in that position. I'll never allow myself to get to that point again, because I have to prioritize me to be of value to anybody else. And I had let me go in terms of really taking care of myself. And so, it took that one big eye-opening moment for me, and that was in October of 2024. And I prioritized rest pretty well since then.
Good job. Well, so this January 2nd scare for me hopefully is going to teach me how to manage my anxiety. Yeah, better. All right, an easy one?
Okay, an easy one. Here we go. Do you want to choose it?
Sure. If this retreat had a message for you, what do you think it's trying to say?
I'm curious.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
If this retreat has a message for me, what do you think it's trying to say? Well, we were talking about I love puns, by the way. So I think the word retreat, if I put a little hyphen where it's retreat, I feel like it's a retreatment. It's teaching me to treat myself in terms of self-care, to go back and look back at how I've been, and that this is kind of like a reset for how I want to be for 2026, right? I think 2025, I had the best momentum of all these wonderful things happening, and now this retreat is really reminding me that I still have a lot to give, a lot to go off on, and I think it's more like I was, telling myself, 2026 is a year for anything or everything to just bring it on, like I got it, and so this is the perfect timing because it's in January, right? And so and to partner up with you on the business side of it, and I'm going to say, God has blessed me because we met personally first.
We did.
Right? And so I kind of have the best of both worlds of Mandy Cansler, both as a
Mandy
friend.
Wang.
Okay. All right. So I live and practice. Well, I live in Long Beach now, but before I was living in San Gabriel Valley. But my practice is in a highly diverse immigrant community of Asian and Hispanic heritage, and so we decided to change your last name to Wang. And so you're Mandy Wang.
Because I've done all of the Asian,
Yes.
the food experiences,
Yes.
the traditions, all
the
of it.
Asian massages
yeah.
and
we have
facials
done it all.
and everything. And I think you're starting to pick up some of our language and here and there. And
A little
so,
bit.
And then I started, picking up a little bit of the accent here and there. And I can't say Mandy Cansler without a...
Katie Chusler.
Yes, that was our other little nickname for me, was Katie Chusler and Mandy Cansler, or Mandy Wang.
That's hilarious.
So, but yeah, I think that's what the retreat is telling me. Okay, so...
yeah, it's this has been a really interesting podcast to do because I catch myself watching people walk by. We see people in bathing suits. Nobody knows that we're here doing it, and so people are trying to walk in front of the camera. So this has been pretty spontaneous.
It is spontaneous. So I have my cell phone on this tripod thing, and we have chairs protecting it so that people don't knock over my cell phone. So hopefully,
we're making it through. Okay, so I'll answer that question. So what do I feel like this retreat is trying to tell me? And I would say that is saying to me is that it's easy for us to celebrate things in our personal life, a birthday, an anniversary, and a milestone of some kind. But professionally, we oftentimes don't stop and celebrate, right? Because we're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Or you might be like, good job, and then you're on to the next thing. But I think for me to observe what's going on with this team and to be able to be a part of it, which has been exciting, but also a bystander to observe some of the involvement of what's going to happen, this is telling me that what we do outside of our personal life, it's worth celebrating. Mm-hmm. What you've done to get to where you are for the last 30 years, that's worth celebrating. And where you're gonna go, where we are headed to, where we're going, and I say we because this has been very much a partnership, it's absolutely worth celebrating. You're doing that in a beautiful way this week.
I am.
Really beautiful way.
I am.
So, kudos to you, and I get to be a part of that celebration, which has been really, really great. So that's what I would say it's saying to me. What a celebration.
Definitely. I'm going to just touch upon, as you were talking, and this celebration, I think, is also, it is a celebration of my own growth, my own personal journey, right? And I think what I finally, the word that came into my head was that there's a name for what I'm doing, and I never knew that I was doing it. And that is, I'm leading, like even this idea, I put it it was a concept, but I put it in motion to have our workshops where my staff can also enjoy it. And so what a better way than to have it where it's a work-life balance on a cruise ship, right? Yeah. But the fact that I put it in action in a matter of 48 hours, from the time we talked about it.
You pulled the trigger fast.
I did. And I sent out quick text messages to all my staff saying, hey, during this block of time, are you guys available? And as soon as they all said yes, then I just started booking. And so yeah.
They're enjoying the cruise. You hear that? Hey, I would like to speak to something that you mentioned a minute ago, because you said I hadn't named it, and you said I'm leading.
Yeah.
And I would love to speak to that, because optometrists, ophthalmologists, any type of a healthcare provider, you are leaders. And oftentimes,
and I didn't know that. Just so you know, I was so busy at just doing my thing.
You're taking care of patients, but who's looking at you? Not just your patients, your team. And so people are watching how you walk, how you interact with patients, how you interact under stress, how do you manage stress? Do you celebrate with them? Do you fail with them? Or is it, I succeed, but you fail? Is it that we rise together, we fall together? And so I see so many times that physicians, and part of it is because it's not that big of a part of med school or optometry school. there might be a semester course on something in terms of, practice management. In terms of leading, how do you find your voice as a leader when you're leading your practice? You're making business decisions. I mean, you've got a lot, there's some high stakes decisions to make. And so, providers, whether it be optometrists or ophthalmologists, they're leaders. And they're leading in, it may not always be in the direction they should be leading, but owning that, yes, I'm a leader and I'm going to lead the way.
Yeah.
And that at any point in time, just like us that are working as administrators or consultants, that you can change what that path looks like and you can continue to grow, which is exactly what you've done and what you're doing.
I was thinking for the podcast, I always end with seeing clearly, leading boldly, and living purposefully. And that leading boldly is the reason why I came up with that, was because that is what I'm doing. It's not just words that I just put out there because they sounded good, but me finding the confidence that I am a leader, right? And the decisions I'm making are very groundbreaking for my life, if that makes sense. And those are words bold, and I'm finding, courage to take these steps. And so, so how's our time? Do we want to do one more?
I think we're starting to run short.
Yeah, okay,
short
because
on time.
There's a lot of people walking by, and we've been trying. We actually have somebody behind my camera that is the crowd control, trying to keep people from running into my camera. So, but
that's right.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, spending some time listening to our stories on the soft truths and the hard truths of our life, right? And what better way than to celebrate the new year by navigating on the sea.
On the navigator.
On the navigator, yeah. We're navigating our life. And cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
And cheers to everyone listening to our podcast. All right, have a good day.